Peace. What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Ron's Library and Ideas. This is Ron speaking. And today, we're going to be talking about how television becomes real. One of the key things that I learned in this journey towards knowledge is that our subconscious minds cannot tell the difference between things that we have imagined and things that actually happened, or things that we see on television versus things that we see in real life. Your subconscious mind responds to those things in the exact same way. Think about some of your favorite or least favorite characters in television, and I think you'll get what I'm saying. So, for example, today I'm going to use Joffrey Baratheon, Skyler White, and Glenn from The Walking Dead. Those three names that I just said are all fictional characters in television shows, but that did not stop people from having an emotional response, a visceral response to their characters. Let's start with the character Joffrey Baratheon from the show The Game of Thrones. Now, I know you guys don't need a rundown on this character's backstory, but for those who aren't aware, Joffrey Baratheon is the king's son, and he soon becomes the king. And he was such a hated character on that show that people really disliked him in real life. The actor talked about the difficulties of playing different roles or even wanting to act further because of how he was viewed from that TV show. Now, if you watched The Game of Thrones, you know Joffrey Baratheon was a despicable character. He was a sadist, he was cruel, and he was a brat, and he didn't know much. But because of the way that he was portrayed and how he comes across on screen, people really didn't like Joffrey Baratheon. Isn't that something? If you saw that person in real life, those of you who are fans of that show, how would you respond to seeing them? You know, when that character, spoiler alert, when that character died in the show, that was one of the highest rated episodes because people were so ready to see him die. They weren't happy with his character. And again, this is a make-believe show. The next character that I named was Skyler White from the hit show Breaking Bad. Now, Breaking Bad is a wonderful television show. Really good drama. One of my favorites. And I must admit, when I was watching the show, I found myself rooting against Skyler White as well. I didn't like her character. I wanted her to be more on Walter's side. But it never got to the point with me to where if I saw her in real life, I would be upset with her. Skyler White, or Anna Gunn, the woman who was playing that character, she was getting death threats in real life over a fictional character. Think about that. You see somebody play a role on television and you go out of your way to write a death threat, a threatening letter to send to this woman for a make-believe character. That's how powerful television programming and movies are. People know this. The people who use Hollywood and these television shows as means of mind control, they are fully aware of the power of television. I just find that so fascinating that, wow, this woman was really getting death threats from a role that she played. Now, I understand not liking a character because of what they do in the show, but when you take that dislike from a fictional television show and you bring that into the real world, that's when you start to have problems. And the final character that I brought up was Glenn from The Walking Dead. Glenn was and still is a fan favorite on that show. And spoiler alert, Glenn gets killed in a very brutal way. And honestly, you know, it was hard to watch. It was very graphic, but that's the nature of The Walking Dead. You know, that show starts off the very first episode Rick Grimes shoots the zombified little white girl in the head. Very first episode. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, so this is about to be a different type of show. But here's something to think about. After Glenn got killed in the show, a lot of fans stopped watching the show. He was such a beloved character that when he died, they just couldn't watch it anymore. There's people out there who really have no idea exactly what happened after Glenn made his departure. People were emotionally distraught. I heard about people like having to call out of work the next day because of what happened in a television show. And that seems amazing until you realize your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between real events and stuff that you just see on television or things that you just imagine. And I say all of this to say we have to be very careful of what we allow into our mental. Because unknowingly, you can allow something in there that'll affect your psyche and you not be aware of it. I brought this example up before, but when I was in college, the song Tatted Up came out, and people went out in droves and started getting tattoos. These things that we see on television influence us. I think about when Lil Wayne started wearing skinny jeans and how, following suit, you saw a whole lot of men, young boys, start to wear skinny jeans. Even him putting a tattoo on his face, multiple tattoos on his face. That wasn't a common thing. But now, 2 days ago, I'm out working, and throughout that day, I saw 5 or 6 people with face tattoos, men and women. And it's just amazing to me that since that time in the mid 2000s when you started seeing Lil Wayne do that, it added it to our mental Rolodex. Okay, this is something that can be real. This is something that I can do. It's influence. So thinking about these television shows and these characters that we see and how they have an emotional effect on us, I believe it is very important for us to just be aware of that and question, okay, well, why do I believe in these things? Think about all the stereotypes that you believe in, things that you've seen on television that have become real to you. There's a reason why they want to portray black people in a certain light, especially American black people. They want to portray us in a light to where we'll start to believe what we see on television. Art imitates life, and life in turn imitates art. They feed into each other. So I just thought that was interesting, you guys. Go back and look at that yourself. Look at those articles where they're talking about Skyler White getting death threats, or Anna Gunn, the woman playing Skyler White, getting death threats. If you have friends who are fans of The Walking Dead, ask them how they felt about Glenn dying. Did they continue on with the show, or did they stop watching? Ask people who are fans of the Game of Thrones, how do you feel about Joffrey Baratheon? If you saw him in real life, what would your reaction be to him? And it's I think about the guy who played young Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. He got ridiculed for that role so much that guy stopped acting. He didn't want to have to deal with those fans and all the criticism that you get from that. But again, that's just an example of just how powerful images are. But that was on my mind. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like button, share, and let me know some more characters that you've heard of or that you know that you had an emotional response to. And isn't that fascinating that our subconscious minds are just wide open like that? And the solution to that, that's where you have to use, your conscious mind to guard the things that you let in and to question those things that are coming into your mind as well. Like whenever I see something that's stereotypical on television or in a movie, my conscious mind automatically points that out. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be pointing it out to other people, but just pointing it out to yourself. Now, look at this BS. Look at how they're trying to do us. And it's not just black people that they do this to. It's all types of stereotypes against all people that's pushed on us. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to this quick video. I'll see you on the next episode of Ron's Library and Ideas. Peace.